Good morning. It is indeed a pleasure to see all of you here, particularly our visitors who are going to be looking at our school system, and as well as our administrators and our executive staff. I'd like to recognize Mr. Earl Taylor, who is on our Board of Education, and I'm glad that he could come today. He's quite involved in everything that the schools do, as you know. And then Rick Stout, who is our superintendent, and you met him last night, but just so that some of the principals who may not see him as often as they want to, that's our superintendent, and we're glad that and we're certainly glad that he is here. Let me assure you, last evening we had a delightful time at dinner, and I think it's always good to break bread with people because it builds a different rapport between you and that not knowing them. So that was good for all of us, from our staff as well as for our visiting team. Accreditation is really a neat activity. We work very hard, and sometimes we're kind of frightened about it. But I believe in Onslow County we've developed a different attitude. We developed a welcoming attitude for accreditation. We welcome the scrutinization because we are a system of continuous improvement, and we're always looking for ways that we can improve on the good things that we know we have. We also know that we have great strengths and that sometimes we have weaknesses, and we want to be able to help identify those and get the input from an external group that will help us become an even better school system. We know we're great now, but we want to be even better. So I know that you're going to enjoy this few days with this visiting team. I'm sure they're going to enjoy it because we think we have a lot of wonderful things here for you to see. And I just wish that if you want to come back and visit us sometime on a more personal note, please do that. We'd love for you to come. We've got a lot going on every day. So thank you for giving your time, visiting team, and for you, our staff, for coming today. And I know that you're going to have a wonderful time in Onslow County Schools. Now I'm going to turn this over to your main leader, Leslie Eason. So Dr. Eason, thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. I would like to first take the opportunity to introduce all of you to Dr. Mary Mickelson, who is going to serve as the lead evaluator for our external review team. And I will just tell you, one of the privileges of being the contact for accreditation in a school system is that sometimes you get to work with the lead evaluator before she arrives in Onslow County. And I do just want to share with our Onslow County folks that she has been so excited and just so knowledgeable and really just very probing about this external review in Onslow County. So Mary, welcome to Onslow County. And I didn't know if you would like to take just an opportunity to introduce your team to our Onslow County folks.
I'm just going to stand over here and use my big group. I'm Mary Mickelson. I'm from Indianapolis. Indianapolis, Indiana. State of Indiana thinks I have retired, but I really do. It resonates for me, the work that Advanced Ed does. So I say yes to a lot of the things that Advanced Ed offers. So I'm really, really privileged to be here. And I shared with some folks last night that when I got the email inviting me to come to Onslow County, I always check the website before I click yes. I always click the website. And when I got to the website, I thought, yeah, I'll go there. And then I thought, yeah, I want to really go there. It wasn't a, yeah, I guess I'll go. It was a, wow, I want to go there. So it's my second trip to North Carolina as a lead evaluator, and I was here as a mom when my son was in graduate school at UNC, no place. But anyway, so I've been to North Carolina before. It is nice to come. It is much warmer here than it is at home, but it's not snowing either place, so thank you very much. We are a team of 8, and some of you know we'll be visiting your schools tomorrow. Who are you that we're visiting with tomorrow? Principals? It is going to be a wonderful privilege to visit the 8 schools we will be in tomorrow. Time does not allow us to come to all of your schools, and we know that in your heads you understand that, in your hearts it's a little more difficult. So please understand that your input this afternoon in those interviews will be important to us as well. So we are a team of 8, and I will let each one of us introduce ourselves. That saves me from embarrassing moments. Because yesterday, we have not known each other as individuals, many of us, certainly as a group, except since 3:30 yesterday afternoon, and from emails over the last couple months. So, Kendall, will you start?
My name is Pam White, and I'm from Clay County, just outside Jacksonville, Florida. And I am thrilled to be here. I was born at Fort Bragg and on Tar Heel, and I was glad to be back home.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I stand because I'm so short. I'm Selma Allen. I'm from the Scotland area. I'm retired right now as a field consultant with Advance Ed, which means I volunteer and serve on these teams, lead teams.
Hi, I'm Kathy Whitman. I'm the Director of Professional Development and Title II Coordinator for Nash Rocky Mount Public Schools, so 2 hours up the road. And I believe I've seen him in person, but I just saw a picture of your superintendent with my own superintendent as they were at the White House recently.
Good morning, I'm Emily Marsh, and I'm the superintendent at Fort Bragg Schools with Godea. It's good to be here.
Hello, I'm Dr. Logan Toon. I'm the Assessment and Accountability Director for a large school district in the Salt Lake City area.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia Wilson. I'm Assistant Superintendent with Wilson County Schools, Nash Rocky Mountain Network.
Morning, I'm Colonel Scott Gibson, retired Air Force and headmaster at Low Country Preparatory School in Pawleys Island, just 3 hours south in South Carolina.
And when I saw the list of folks who were going to join me on this team, I was absolutely delighted. Not necessarily surprised, but I was absolutely delighted to find that we have so many people who have the military connection, either a direct connection or an indirect connection. So that will help us with that, informing our own insights about how things are working in Onslow County, but also bring in that military connection as well. So this is a top-notch team, know that going in. And so thank you very much.
As we prepare to begin with our domain standards and the diagnostics presentation, I would like to ask our external review team if you would look in your folders as we get ready to get started. We try very hard in this school system to keep the main thing, and to put first things first. And feeding your visitors is typically one of those effective and efficient things we try to do. Your lunch menu is in your folder, and if you will go ahead and circle what you would like for lunch, put your name on it, and pass it down to Mr. Gibson's direction, then Angela Brown is going to pick those up for us and make sure that we get those placed. So while you are doing that, I would like to introduce you to our continuous improvement leadership team. And in this school system, we are blessed with the depths of so many leaders that there could be any of 75 of us who would have the honor of serving on this team. But this team has kind of steered the ship for the last 5 years and really helped with all of the final touches and will be your presentation team this morning. So I will start on the far end. Lisa Thompson is our Director of Accountability and Testing Services. Lisa, if you will wave to our review team in case you didn't meet any of them last night. John Shannon is the Director of Career and Technical Education. Brent Anderson is our Director of Secondary Services. Dwayne Snowden is the Director of Elementary and AVID Services. Dr. Mark Boris is the Director of Title I and Literacy Services. And then going to the back row, Mr. Jeff Holloman is our Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Steve Myers is our Assistant Superintendent for Auxiliary Services. Judy Yeager is our Director of Safe, Civil, and Caring Schools. And Ross Friebel is our Director of Distance Learning and Teaching Services. We're going to go ahead, if it is okay, with the team, and this will be your presentation team as we go through the 3 domains and kind of do the introduction to the Onslow County school system. Dr. Boris?
Good morning. The mission of Onslow County School Community is to prepare students to be globally competitive leaders and responsible citizens in the 21st century. We believe that central to this mission is a well-structured system of guidance and support focused on providing students with quality teaching and learning across the district. The Onslow County Schools Instructional Framework that you see before you provides an overview of our district initiatives and support mechanisms that are in place to encourage and support effective teaching and learning throughout the district. Each of these will become evident as you visit classrooms, interview stakeholders, and review evidence over the next few days. As we continue to move forward in achieving our vision of excellence in education, we believe that each of the elements contained within this framework are critical to ensuring student success and achieving our mission. We believe it takes a system of quality schools, educators, leadership, and support staff working as a team and implementing quality programs and initiatives to ensure our students have the greatest opportunity to experience success. In order to accomplish our vision and our mission, the effective use of data to inform leadership and to drive instruction at the district, school, and classroom levels is critical. The use of data and analysis of data has been key to our strategic planning and continuous improvement process since the early 90s and is ingrained in the culture of the Onslow County school system. Our strategic planning process is based on a comprehensive needs assessment utilizing multiple sources of data. We utilize data from not only our state assessments, our end of course, our end of grade tests, which are mandated by the state, but also from our survey data, whether that be the latest iteration through our assist surveys or our previous iterations of safe and civil school surveys, 360 surveys that we've used throughout the past several years. We also look at teacher working conditions, benchmark assessments, identify community needs for each of our school districts, as well as many other sources of data. The strategic planning process also includes formalized peer review and annual review processes to evaluate progress towards our established goals and determine the effectiveness of our strategies and actions which have been implemented. Strategic plans are also supplemented by several other data-driven plans focused on continuous improvement, whether it be the Title I plans, Title II, ESL, career and technical education, professional development, safe and civil schools, and the list goes on. All these plans are linked to or embedded within the district and school strategic plans and focus on continuous improvement of teaching and learning. Now, all this data is meaningless without the training and the, as we look at our data throughout the system, we really want to look at a balanced assessment system, and we try to focus on multiple sources of data. And it goes well beyond the strategic planning process. Data is utilized on a daily basis throughout the district as decisions are made which implement teaching and learning. Ongoing formative and diagnostic assessments are used to guide and differentiate instruction to meet students' needs. Whether it's reteaching a concept in the classroom, accelerating the student, developing a personalized education plan, or monitoring instructional intervention, it begins with the effective use of data and a balanced assessment system. Formative assessments are administered both as a formal and informal basis through systems like M-Class Reading 3D, USA Test Prep, and informal teacher observations of student progress and performance. We've also spent, we've had a grading policy action team that has spent and done a lot of work over the past few years making sure that our grading practices are aligned with a balanced assessment system and that grades are a true measure of student learning. This work has led to some changes in our Board of Education grading policy as well as our administrative guidelines prior to the 13-14 school year. Now, with all this data that we have, we are truly a data-rich environment. And the data is meaningless without a training to utilize data. So as we work with staff within the Onslow County school system, we provide a variety of training opportunities to support the use of data to inform instruction and plan for continuous improvement. Support personnel such as instructional coaches, literacy coaches, digital learning and teaching coaches, EC coaches, are able to provide training on a hands-on, ongoing basis at the school sites. OCS VPLC was a train-to-trainer model which we've implemented within the county to ensure that our administrators and teacher leaders at the schools know the established protocol for PLCs, and the use of data. K-3 teachers are continuously trained with utilizing Reading 3D data, whether it's their progress monitoring data or their benchmark data to inform instruction. And again, the literacy coaches play an important role in this, being at the school sites to be able to help the teachers and assist the teachers in transforming that data and translating that data into instructional practice. All of our teachers and staff have worked with NC Education modules, specifically completing the NC Falcon module. And North Carolina Education is an online professional development portal which is offered by the Department of Public Instruction. And so that really led to some good discussion of the use of formative assessments throughout the district. We also conduct school-based data sessions, which are supported by district office staff, and they range anywhere from looking at EOG, EOC data to EVOS data, USA test prep information, and the list goes on. Most recently, we have established an institutional review board process. And a big part of that process is to monitor and determine the effectiveness of pilot programs and any new major instructional initiatives within the district. So as you'll see during your visit, the Onslow County school system is truly a data-rich school system that effectively utilizes data to teach and assess for learning as an integral part of the continuous improvement process and to enhance the teaching and learning process.
I'm going to talk about two of our driving forces in the district and also how, just give an example of how we problem solve from a K-12 perspective. I'm going to talk about the AVID College Readiness System. And this system empowers students, educators, families, and feeder patterns. The ACRS empowers students to graduate from college by helping them develop their academic strengths and social adaptability and helping them discover and grow their individual determination. AVID empowers educators with instructional strategies and best teaching practices to provide rigorous, relevant, and differentiated academic opportunities for all students. AVID empowers families to support and guide their learners through their educational journey by providing learning resources, process roadmaps, and strategies for academic and social success. And finally, AVID empowers feeder patterns to strengthen their accountability, articulation, assessment, and calibration within vertical and horizontal teams. Also, the thing AVID does is it helps with transition from elementary to middle school, middle to high school, and then high school to college and career readiness opportunities. Themed elementary schools provide equitable and challenging learning experiences for students. In the fall of 2008, the Onslow County School System formed the Themed Elementary School Prototype Committee to examine strategies for enhancing K-5 instructional programming. At the start of the 2009-2010 academic year, the first themed elementary school in Onslow County, Stateside Elementary, opened as an impact school of national pride. By the fall of 2014, all of our elementary schools will have themes which include STEAM, STEM, scientific inquiry, global perspectives, habits of mind, and leadership. Last but not least, I want to talk about how we problem solve together in Onslow County schools from a K-12 perspective. Math 1 support shows how we problem solve as a district. Upon the shift to Common Core, high school teachers and students had to adapt to a new curriculum. During that transition, test scores have showed a steady improvement. However, the district recognizes what the research says about building a strong K-3 math-focused to assist middle and high school math instruction. It is our hope that during this semester, moving math forward support at grades K, 5, and 8 will help strengthen the continuum K-12.
Good morning. I want to share some information with you regarding our instructional leadership and student opportunities in Onslow County. One thing I think that you will see as you visit our schools and talk with our staff and have the interviews throughout the next 2 days, you're going to see a very large emphasis on the idea of teamwork. And teamwork is inherent in what we do with instructional leadership and providing student opportunities. From our many opportunities for teachers, including our first-year teacher training program, through our mentoring, to our Onslow County BPLC, which was our district-wide training on professional leadership or learning communities throughout this district. There's a lot of different opportunities for teacher leadership, and all of that has an impact on student learning and instruction. The biggest one that we wanted to start out with is the idea in talking about our teacher leadership councils. Started in the 2011-12 school year, it is made up of curriculum leaders from across Onslow County schools, teachers from all of our schools, K-12, throughout the district, with representation from all of our sites. And one of the big jobs that the TLCs did, they have created our standards division documents. And among other things that they've done, working on the additional areas of focus, including resources and planning documents to support instruction, digital learning and teaching resources that have been developed and shared with teachers across the county, development of common assessments based on our standards division documents, demonstration of best practices related to core instruction, and they've identified different areas of concern and improvement that we need to look at as we're moving forward with our vision of excellence in education. Our standards division documents, like I said, were developed by the teacher leadership councils, and they address the Common Core state standards for ELA and math, and the North Carolina essential standards for other areas that we are working with in instruction in Onslow County and across the state. The standards divisions documents, as the name implies, divides the standards and clarifying objectives into chunks that are easier to digest and give teachers an opportunity to develop pacing guides as they work through the year, working on the instruction and the content with their students. And like I mentioned before, they are also used as the basis for our conceptual unit planning and the development of common assessments across the district. And the SDDs, the standard division documents, are reviewed and revised by our teacher leadership councils each school year. Now, the second part of what I wanted to share is the idea of student opportunities. And as the secondary director, it's been my pleasure to have the opportunity to work with our Onslow County Schools secondary course of study. We are going now into our 7th year of a standard course of study. We've always had a registration guide for our high schools and students coming into high school, but we've really kind of expanded that and looked at the process of registration for the high school in a district-wide registration process. Previously known as our high school registration guide, we're currently working on our 7th edition, and it provides students and parents and school professionals with an instrument to assist in the selection of courses for grades 6 through 12. We've recently expanded this guide so that we are now including information about career and college promise to highlight opportunities for students to participate in dual enrollment at our local community college. And beginning with our 2014-15 edition, the edition that is displayed up here in the picture, we included information about our middle schools and began distribution of the guide to our 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students. So as early as 5th grade, students are getting an opportunity to see what is available for them as they move into middle school and then make that transition into high school. All of which ties back into the idea of our advocacy for our children. We want to make sure that they're aware of all the different opportunities, and we want to make that information as easily available to parents, community members, teachers, and others as we possibly can. So building on the idea of student opportunities, I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Shannon. He's going to talk some more about the opportunities that we have through our Career and Technical Education Department.
Good morning, everyone. Rigor, relevance, and relationships are those 3 words that come out so much. And when you listen to Mr. Anderson and Dr. Bolaris and Mr. Snowden, you see that we're trying to make these relationships for our kids K-12. That's an Onslow County piece that we're very proud of, that we look at it from the beginning, from the Math 1 solutions, starting as far down in kindergarten, what can we do to fix that, through middle school, the transition now, as Mr. Anderson said, with our registration guide, which is that secondary guide for us, which starts in 6th grade. So when we look up here, one of the things that I want to talk about as a career tech ed director is the relevance that makes these kids want to come to school and be successful. So we have, we're building a relationship, we have a relationship, building more powerful relationship with the NCAC, the National Coalition of Career Academies, National Career Academy Coalition, there it is, NCAC. I knew it was in there somewhere. We have one nationally recognized academy, which is our Health Science Academy at Jacksonville High School. We have many other small learning communities, which again shows our belief, our strong belief that students have to have a choice in what they want to be and what they want to do. So they have like-minded students in cohorted groups, and we try to work our schedules so that our kids are traveling place to place and class to class with like-minded students. You'll notice the second bullet here is one of the things that we're very proud of at Onslow County is our credentialing and our certification through career tech ed offerings. You'll see our numbers here. We've risen every year to the 13-14 school year. We have nearly 4,000 credentials or certification opportunities. I don't get it yet. Which we're very proud of. You'll notice at the bottom, we are of the 22,000 opportunities in North Carolina in our southeast region. We are 4,000 of those, which is nearly a quarter of those credentials. Also, Onslow County ranks 10th highest in credentialing in the entire state of North Carolina. So we're very proud of that, giving those kids that opportunity to learn what they want to learn, make choices to where they want to be. One of the opportunities that we started 3 years ago as a growing process, as a learning process, and now in our second full year and beginning to market for our third year, are our advanced technology towers. This is our take at giving kids the opportunity to step one step beyond the average student, the average opportunities, because we have the advanced technology towers of construction, which involves plumbing for the first time in Onslow County. One of the few that's this side of 95. So we're one of 2 or 3 in the entire state of North Carolina, gives an opportunity. We also have electrical trades, we have construction, and we have our drafting teacher working in that. So we're working together as a team there to make sure our kids have that relevant programming to be able to be prepared to move forward into the next step and have an advanced step. One of the other things we're doing is we're moving on to some green technologies. We put in some local course options for that for next year to give kids an opportunity to gain those additional skills that are above and beyond the average. Applied Advanced Technologies at Northside High School, I believe you've been visiting there. We've gone with a STEM lab there, and the kids are having a great time learning about different modular approaches to what the world of work has to offer through STEM. Right now, we have a drafting teacher and a career tech ed teacher working together to make that happen. And we're working on possibilities of moving that into our middle school to connect that throughout. And the last one is the Southwest High School's Advanced Automotive Technologies, where our students are learning what they need to learn to go out right into the workforce and be able to be successful coming right out of school. So hopefully, all of these will be a way to show that relevance, to get those kids in, keep them in school, and to show that we really want to show for their success. Again, looking at what can we do for them to give them advanced opportunities to be successful in the future, whether they go into the workforce or whether they go on to college. One thing that's not on the slide is I did want to mention to you folks that we are one of 6 work-ready communities in the state of North Carolina. We had that recognition just a few months back. I think it was November when we got that recognition, and that shows that we're connecting with the Economic Development Board, the Chamber of Commerce, the Coastal Carolina Community College, and our school system, as well as the Eastern Carolina Workforce Development Board in New Bern, showing that we are work-minded, work-ready, and we want to show our employers that it's time to come here and pick up our kids because they have skills that are necessary. In addition to that recognition, we've also been selected. We actually chose to go ahead with the Chamber of Commerce and start a new subcommittee to become the governor just started a new work-ready community for the state of North Carolina with his criteria. So we applied for that, and we have a 2-year time frame to turn that around. It's an expansion of the work-ready community, but it will be the state recognition. So we're very proud to be the 6th county in the state of North Carolina to go for that recognition as well. So going back to what these 3 gentlemen have said, we look at where are we K-12, what are we doing to make sure our kids have differentiated opportunities. We talk about relationships all the way along. How do we make sure our kids are successful? How do we make sure they want to stay here? How do we make sure they're getting what they need to be successful at the next step, whether it be career or college? We can't do that without Ms. Thompson, who gives us our data, and she's going to help us, back to what Dr. Bowler said, getting us where we need to be as far as the next steps.
Good morning. I have the honor of closing out the teaching and learning domain, and I'm just going to hit some of the highlights of the student performance. We are currently in year 3 of current new curriculum, new assessment. So we do not have trend data with our EOCs and our EOGs, but we have increased our proficiency from the 12-13 school year to the 13-14 school year. And while we don't have any trend data, we conduct an analysis at the end of all administrations by subgroups, including ethnics, gender. We also do the breakdown looking at it by standard to see what areas we might need to improve upon. And the next area we'll look at is closing the gaps. The subgroups that are listed, the white, Hispanic, and African American, are our largest ethnic groups. We look at all of our ethnic groups: Asian, American Indian, Pacific Islander, but these 3 are our top 3 largest groups, and then we compare it to the school as a whole, or the district as a whole. And I'm pleased to say that we are actively closing the achievement gaps in grades 3 through 8 in reading between all students in black, black to white, all white, and Hispanic white. We're doing that as well in mathematics, grades 3 through 8, and in science in grades 5 and 8. And as we continue to close our gaps, we analyze and are reviewing our instructional practices to ensure that we're meeting the needs of all of our learners. So let's take a look at a few trends. You heard Mr. Shannon talk about career and technical education. And we're looking at the CTE state assessments. Our students' technical skill attainment exceeds the state goal. Our students that are economically disadvantaged, limited English proficient, Hispanic, and white have increased in those areas for the past 3 years. Our graduation rate exceeds the state rate. Our graduation rate is the highest of the like districts that were shared in the performance write-up. And our African American subgroup has increased in its graduation rate for the past 4 consecutive years. When we're analyzing our growth data, we utilize the SACS EVOS system. And when we're looking at growth, we're looking at for 1 year's worth of instruction or 1 semester worth of instruction, did our students grow? Not were they proficient, but did they show growth? In the areas of our sciences and biology, grades 5 and 8, we exceed that growth expectation. In reading in grades 4, 7, and 8, the students as a whole, they were either at meets or exceeds. Our mathematics, our overall 3-year average is at exceeds. Grade 8 math is we are at exceeds for the average of 3 years. And our math 1, we are at meets. All of our, within all areas of our district, not just the instructional area, we use data to support all of our decisions. Within departments, divisions, schools, and in our classrooms, our students are also analyzing their own data and setting their own academic and behavioral goals in their classrooms. And all of this supports the mission, vision, and purpose of our school system. I will now turn it over for the next domain to cover leadership capacity.
As we make the transition from teaching and learning domain into the leadership capacity domain, I am very proud to share with all of you that we are a vision-driven school system. We are a mission-driven school system. And with the assistance of Advanced Ed 3 years ago, we are very much a purpose-driven school system. And 3 years ago, with the change in the Advanced Ed accreditation standards, we did some research on our own and made a very concerted decision that we felt like we needed to keep the vision and we needed to keep the mission, but we also needed to spread our wings a little bit and really look at this idea of purpose and being purpose-driven in a school system that has a tremendous responsibility in serving 26,000 children. We also utilize with our school system and in each of our 37 sites the goals from the state of North Carolina. Typically, in a yearly review, we may annotate them just a little bit so that they fit our school system and so that they fit our individual schools. But as the state works on their continuous improvement processes, the Onslow County school system works diligently to honor the goals and the outcomes of the state of North Carolina. And for those of you who reside within North Carolina, you know that we are sitting on a new set of goals that will be rolled out at the beginning of the 2015-2016 school year. For many, many years, the vision in the Onslow County school system has been excellence in education. We revisit that vision each and every year. We review, we give the opportunity to revise, and rather miraculously, after we do much of that work, it has remained excellence in education for a very, very long time. Our mantra is very simple. If you get up each and every day and do the very best work that you can in every area possible, and you make up your mind, whether you are a child, a teacher, or an administrator, that today we are going to work towards excellence in education, we believe through our continuous improvement process that we will reach that point. We have taken copious steps to ensure that we do multiple measures each year to make sure that we are working towards our ultimate vision of excellence in education. As we look at our purpose to educate our children for a successful future, I will share with you, we had very healthy discussion 3 years ago. Do we really need a vision, a mission, and a purpose? Could we move those two things together and maybe just have a purpose? And so ultimately, with the continuous improvement process and our internal review process that we utilize each and every year, we ended up with some research outside of the field of education. And I will tell you, this was a pretty compelling moment, not only for our district leadership, but for our school leadership, because this was the piece of literature that we came across, and it was at this moment that we said, this makes sense. And this is the reason in the Onslow County school system that we need to be vision-driven, we need to be mission-driven, and we must also be purpose-driven. So as you look at medical beginnings, somebody has got to be thinking, what does that have to do with purpose and direction? But it was this borrowed research 3 years ago that really set us on this trajectory. And as you look at this slide, if you happen to work in the medical field, which I have not ever had the privilege of doing, I think it's important that you're able to envision that you have healthy patients with healthy hearts. And I think it's a very commendable mission that you would want to create the best cardiac care for heart patients. But it is when we got to the purpose in the research, and ultimately the purpose in the research was to save lives. And while all of that is commendable, we really felt like we needed to maintain all three of those things, because that purpose really gives you a whole added layer of purpose for getting up each and every morning and coming to do the good work that we get to do. We have a very stringent and exciting internal review process. Our principals have reminded me for about the last 2 years that external review is probably a whole lot easier than what we do to ourselves in terms of internal review each and every year. Each and every year at the district level and with the teamwork of our 37 sites, we review our vision, our mission, and our purpose each and every year. And we don't only do that at the district level, we do that in all 37 of our sites. All of our school leaders prepare yearly presentations for our Board of Education. And all of those are approved by our board. We report out our desired results. We report out our next steps, and really feel like, as a culmination of those board presentations, that we really have been able to create our marching orders for the coming year in terms of maintaining continuous improvement. All of our schools and our district are engaged each year in a fall peer review. They sit together at the table with the other schools and other leaders throughout the school system, and they look very closely at their data. And and they look very closely at their next steps, and they make sure that those are indeed the most important things that we need to be able to accomplish during an academic year. Every spring, we do a spring follow-up, and it's a road show. And it's another fabulous opportunity to be where we need to be as district leaders each and every day, and that is in our schools, working with our school level leadership. And we're able to go in and take a really good look at where are we before we finish out this year. What do we already know that we have accomplished, and what is the work that remains to be done? This year, our spring follow-up will look a little bit different. Our school's strategic plans will come to the end of their current life on June 30th of 2015. And as I already mentioned to you, the state of North Carolina is engaged in a new goal process, and the Onslow County School System will be engaged in a new process of not only leadership training and development for all of our leaders, but also a very different look at how we're going to write and achieve our goals over the next 3 to 5 years. And then probably the most important thing that I will say to you is, after that, our cycle continues year in and year out. As I mentioned, our 37 schools do follow the exact same process as we look at continuous improvement. One of the things that we've done a lot of work on that's very easy to look over if you're not exactly positive what you're looking for, but we're a very transient school system. And we have determined that we have a beautiful story to tell in the school system. And we really do have an obligation to make sure that we're updating that story and that we're able to look back historically at all of the changes that have occurred within the school system. You know, when did we go from 28 schools to 32 schools to 35 schools? And what you'll see in the district strategic plan is a very rich profile. We update our attendance changes every year. We update anything that needs to be updated that will change. And all 37 of our schools do that also. And whenever you have the opportunity, especially as you hit our website, to look at strategic plans over the last 5 years or even over the last 3 years, what you see is that compelling story of continuous improvement. And we're able to do that through our rich profiles. I started this section by sharing with you that we very much believe in excellence in education, and I will tell you that we've questioned ourselves over the years over that vision, because while that remains our vision, there are those among us who would like for us to be able to measure every single thing that we do in public education. Some of those things are simply immeasurable, whether we like it or not, but we have done a very good job in this 5-year process of going in and assigning targets and assigning very specific measures to all 5 of our goals, and ultimately looking at those desired results. So that has been a big area of growth for us as a school system. Before I turn it over to Mr. Holloman, I will just share this with you. District accreditation has served this school system very well for 10 years. We pride ourselves on being a school system. We do not pride ourselves on being 37 individual schools with our arrows not in alignment. And district accreditation has provided that common language and that common vocabulary for us. But what I will also share with you is, as you are here for the next 3 days, we have 37 uniquely wonderful sites. And because they are unique and because they are special in and of themselves, it becomes the mandate and the responsibility of this school system to provide that umbrella and to give our folks, for lack of better vocabulary, the opportunity to make sure that you're not out in the rain all by yourself. That is truly the only non-negotiable. But where does your school, based on the needs of your children, need to fit under that district umbrella, whether it's an AVID decision, whether it's a themed elementary decision, whether it is a language immersion decision, and I could go on and on and on. So you will find that district culture is very strong. And you will also find that where our 37 schools buy into the different initiatives will vary from site to site, and that is what makes us a very unique and powerful school system.
key component of the leadership capacity of Onslow County Schools is demonstrated through the school system's comprehensive process of policy establishment, monitoring, and implementation. The district continuously reviews board policies in light of a constantly changing school environment, as well as changes in federal and state regulations. The district utilizes the expertise from our local board attorney as well as the North Carolina School Boards Association's legal policy staff to help inform our recommendations for new or revised board policies that are presented to the board each month. A primary role of the Onslow County Board of Education is to advocate for the students that we serve. One of the ways that they fulfill this responsibility is through adoption of resolutions expressing the board's position on key issues and meeting with policymakers at other levels to work towards the desired outcome. Our board provides direction and purpose for the district within their local policymaking authority through adoption of board policies, strategic plans, and budgets, and through selection of our superintendent. The board models responsible behavior by adhering to the high standards established in the Code of Ethics. Board members participate annually in professional development opportunities to help them effectively fulfill their responsibilities as leaders of public education. And while each board member brings their own unique perspective to the board, the Onslow County Board of Education functions as a cohesive unit in carrying out their duties for the benefit of our students. The Board of Education provides the superintendent the ability to organize his staff to best meet the needs of the district. Through this approach, staff is given the autonomy to implement board policies while addressing ongoing activities and emerging issues. In reference to leadership capacity, is our overarching goal to foster growth at all levels by engaging students in the learning process, utilizing our rich source of technology, and in doing so, formulate a culture of achievement among students and staff that leads to success and ultimately a high level yield of graduated students ready for college and or a career. This leadership capacity is not only seen in the classroom, but is also evident in our school leadership and central leadership. As we continue to value the philosophy of shared leadership, you will find at each level teams, groups, clubs, and councils all involved in the sharing of ideas and decisions. Our culture relies heavily on distributive leadership. As you may be aware, our evaluation system, NESIS, is designed to foster this same concept. Evaluation is viewed as an opportunity to grow professionally. Our goals bind themselves to the professional standards and are fair and consistent. We do not work in a world of gotcha evaluation. We desire steady improvement.
Speak on stakeholder feedback. And for the past 2 years, including this year, the Onslow County School System has utilized the Assist Survey through Advanced Ed. You can see our 2013-14 percentages of responses listed below, which we're extremely proud of. Before the Assist surveys, we utilized the Onslow 360 Feedback Survey, we utilized the Teacher Working Conditions Survey of North Carolina, and we also surveyed several folks through various SurveyMonkey opportunities as well. From our feedback from those stakeholder groups, we've recognized a pattern, and our pattern of high achievement, which we're extremely proud of, is the pattern of high expectations for student success. And the reason we're proud of that is that students and parents have recognized that we have that as a very high expectation, and it's evident with our results from those feedbacks. When it comes to areas of focused attention, I'd like to draw your attention to the last bullet, and I'll read that for you. All of my teachers changed their teaching to meet my learning needs. And as an area of focused attention, we've already begun to address that specifically this year as we've implemented our first one-to-one laptop initiative throughout the county. And in doing so, teachers have been required and expected to change their teaching styles, and students have been required and expected to change their learning styles as well. And that has also given our teachers the opportunity to focus more time and efforts in the areas of differentiation and personalized learning. And again, our first year with the one-to-one, we're making progress with that, and as years continue, we expect to see further and additional progress. Another area of focused attention that we wanted to identify from those stakeholders is the area of respect. And you can see the pattern here from all three stakeholder groups have said that same thing. And we've begun to address those needs as well through our schools' anti-bullying campaigns. Schools have implemented a behavior matrix. We've identified digital citizenship plans that have been required for all schools, and even our efforts in PBIS have improved this process as well. All of the feedback that we get is coming from our best resources, and those are the people that we serve, our staff, our students, and our parents. And to speak more on the resources, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Myers and Judy Yeager.
Morning. Would you believe I work in technology? There you go. When we talk about resources and infrastructure needs, both physical and virtual, please know that it is our ongoing process of continuous improvement over the last 5 years. Since the last accreditation, much has happened. When we look at the last 5 years, what you'll notice is one thing that's very important to know: over 2,000 new students came into our student population growth. That's put a strain on us a little bit. And but what we've also done over the last 5 years since you've been here, we did another long-range facility needs assessment. And like any other district that does a long-range facility needs assessment, we look at our resources and what we need. What we also do in our long-range facility needs assessment is we work with the community. And we actually work with municipalities, with the utility companies, with the realtors, and we have ongoing meetings with them and develop a long-range facility needs that we can look at the county as a whole and determine where is the next growth going to happen at. Sometimes I call this the whack-a-mole study, because we kind of go out there and figure out what we're going to do with that. Once we have the long-range facility needs assessment in place, what we look at is our capital improvement plan. Long-range facility needs assessment is 10 years. Our capital improvement plan is 5 years. It's a more focused initiative that we present to our board for approval, and then after that, we have to also present to the county commissioners for their approval as well. This outlines what we need over the next 5 years. During the last 5 years, we've had a lot of things going on as well as far as what our needs are. We looked at a redistricting study in 2012 because we saw this continued growth coming forward, but we also knew that the base was right sizing at the same time. And so because of that, we decided not to redistrict in 2012. In 2013, we had a bond initiative, which, while it did not pass, led us into a joint county schools funding policy. This funding policy is providing $145 million to build 5 schools over the next 10 years. This is monumental in the state of North Carolina. Most counties have never gone forward and said, we're going to fund this even without a bond. So we've decided that we're going to build 5 new schools in the next 10 years, even without a bond. Also, we looked at redistricting 2015. Once we realized, even though the base was right sizing, we still saw continued growth, over 2,000 people in the next students over the last 5 years. We knew we had to realign some of our schools to make sure that we used our resources effectively. In that process, the board just passed a redistricting study, and we'll begin redistricting in the school year 2015-2016. All this information that we've put together is leading us into this continuous improvement process that we're looking at the next 5 years and beyond. So we did a long-range facility needs assessment last 5 years ago, well, about 4 years ago. We're going to be doing another one now because we know things are changing and we see the continued growth. We continue to update our capital improvement plan on an annual basis. And we're also looking at building 2 new schools in the next 5 years. One at Dixon Middle School, which is already in process in the design development. And also, we're going to be doing a Richlands Elementary School up in the Richlands area, which is our oldest school, built in 1926. So, and then the other thing that we'll also be doing is the third school will be in process as well. Will be in the development stage, the design stage. And so that's some of the things that we're looking at when we look at the resources. All these resources together is just bricks and mortar, okay? But what's more important is what Ms. Yeager is going to show you right now on how these resources actually affect the students.
We are so technologically savvy that they give the oldest person in the room new technology the day of the presentation. Yes, and it's going to work, I'm positive. I've got it upside down. Okay. Now you know why they put me last. Okay, Ross. Oh, did I go too fast? Okay. Any discussion of resource allocation in the Onslow County schools has to begin with our greatest and growing resource, which is hopefully going to start appearing, which is the students of Onslow County schools. We have a rich cultural diversity in our students, speaking over 23 different languages that we address through our ESL and other programs. Our support services, this is really the human people support services that we have. It's impossible, as you can see, for us to even begin a serious discussion of each of these components. But we take student support very seriously. When we're looking at assessment here and the assessment support that we have available, we're talking about students who need assessment support, who need support in the classroom. We're very fortunate. We have a wonderful, growing, ever-growing special needs population. One of the highlights that we have are school psychologists. We're one of the top schools at districts in the state with the number of school psychologists. We have 13 school psychologists, and that's really where our deep, in-depth assessment can come for students. In addition to, you heard others talk about instructional coaches, we also have exceptional children's instructional coaches to go out and support those teachers in the classroom who are working with those special needs students. In addition to, we have career planning support. And you know, career planning used to be something that started at the high school. Back when I started teaching, you talked about your career when you got to high school. But now it begins in Onslow County with a pre-K community helper walk at Thompson Early Childhood Center. And then in the middle school, as we move up through grade school, classroom teachers address it. When we get to middle school, we have media coordinators, school technology facilitators, classroom teachers, and school counselors that address that career opportunities and career support. And then when we get to high school, we add the career and technology courses, and we finally end up, we have the opportunity for students to do a career internship through the facilitators at the high school. We're very fortunate in our counseling area that we have 10 military family life counselors provided through the military to support our over 3,000 or almost 4,000 military students and families. We also have 2 school liaison officers that are paid for through camp, through the military, to come in and support our students. We also have our English as a second language tutors in all of our school, homebound instruction. As I said, it's absolutely impossible for us to go through that, all of the lists. But educationally, we also have Thompson Early Childhood Center for those students who begin very early. We know they need support. But we also have support opportunities in our year-round school. Some students, their parents know that they're going to need that support year-round and they don't want those long breaks. So that is a school that we offer. We also have a K-5 magnet school, a 6-8 magnet school, And then we have AVID, our International Baccalaureate, middle school and high school. In addition, resource allocation, we've stayed at 98 to 99% highly qualified staff for over the last 5 years, which is pretty amazing when you consider our transient population. We have a lot of military spouses who PC us in and out of our school system. But one of the reasons we believe that we keep that high level of highly qualified teachers is the support we get from the Board of Education and the resource that they choose to provide a 10% supplement to salary. And in the growing financial dearth that we've all endured in the last few years in education, there's always many districts have decided that that's one place they can pull. It's an extra support that they provide to staff, but they could use those resources. But our Board of Education chooses to support, and that does bring us a lot of highly qualified teachers. Not only do we want our staffs highly qualified, but we want them highly competent. So we provide some other supports. We have sessions for first-year teachers, and we have a cohort of first-year beginning teachers. We have a teacher leadership council that goes out then and provides leadership to their schools to support with new initiatives and ongoing data results. We have instructional coaches, and we have technology facilitators. As we'll talk about in a minute about our technology infrastructure, you know that you have got to have some technology facilitators in those schools because there are some teachers out there like me. And then to support our global vision, we're very excited and proud to have 41 visiting international teachers, and one of our highest schools, I believe you're going to visit that school, and it's just amazing to see them come in and hit the ground instructionally without missing a beat. Time is the bane of our existence. Dr. Eason has put together a research group to try to figure out how to get more of it. They haven't come up with any yet. So in order for us to allocate our time to provide support to those students, our elementary schools, many of them have gone to a wave schedule. It's a 6-day wave schedule, and it provides their teachers with an entire day every 6 days to meet as a team or a department or a grade level to do planning. And it has really been beneficial to many of those teachers. At the middle school level, schools have gone to scheduling where they have collaborative, either department or team time where teachers can plan together and they can work together on instruction to make sure that it's aligned. Well, we went too far. Okay. And that's still too far. Actually, our tiered technology is a surprising support for time. One of the things that our teachers kept telling us before we really went to providing that individual technology for teachers was that they wanted to plan when the plan came to them. You know, they wanted to plan after school. They wanted to plan over the summer. And of course, school systems in the summer, the whole building is shut down so we can clean it and repaint it. And so adding those tiered levels of technology support really have helped our teachers have more time in the classroom to work with the students so they can plan beyond the classroom. And finally, I had to put in the rest of us can do this, use our time wisely and creatively, because our physically responsible financial staff sits back behind the scenes, pinching the pennies, moving the pennies around, making sure the pennies are there to provide that support so that we can have the resources we have. I was sitting here thinking a little bit about how resource allocation can kind of seem like, well, you have teaching and learning, you have all these instructional initiatives. It all sounds so great. But for every one of us here today, if we didn't have the resource of a chair, it would significantly change our lives. So that's kind of the unseen hero of our resources. 5 years ago, we began a technology infrastructure fiasco. It was a mess, to say the least. We had 5 megabytes per second of connectivity at some sites. The next year, we got 10 megabytes of connectivity at some sites. Am I saying it wrong? Oh, okay. The third year we got 20 at most sites. By the fourth year, we had 20 at all the elementary and middle, and then we moved to 100 megabytes at the high school. And this year, we have 100 megabytes of connectivity at, it says at the elementary, middle, and high school, but also at our district offices and any place that you go that you need to be connected. And that was really, that's really a daunting task to be able to provide that resource. But we quickly learned that if we did not have that connectivity availability, then all of the material resources we had were really meaningless. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about 10 standards, or 7 standards, or 5 standards, or 3 domains. The vision, oh Lord, sorry, let me back up a little. Don't hit it hard, people, let me just tell you. Okay. The vision, the mission, and the purpose of Onslow County Schools focuses on the students of Onslow County, and they are our greatest resource. Thank you. I feel kind of like the Lord of the Rings.
Dr. Mickelson, I want you to know this happens to me all the time. I realized a long time ago that I am not funny. And inevitably, whenever we have something to do, I have to walk up behind Judy Yeager. That concludes our presentation. And I saw you copiously and diligently taking notes and nodding your heads and laughing at Judy. And I just want to thank all of you for your attention. And I will just wrap up before we go to our first interview group by saying this. I think you have already heard, because it resonates with all of us, that we are a school system that is deeply ingrained in continuous improvement. But we are also a rapidly growing school system. And one of the things that we have talked about that I think you're going to hear this week, and especially tomorrow as you go out into our schools, that as big as we get, somehow or another, we have figured out a way thus far to keep a really nice family feel in this school system. And it is definitely because of the quality of the outstanding educators and community members and children that you're going to meet over the next 3 days. So thank you. Do we need a little bit of transition time, or would you like to go ahead and start moving folks into the interview sessions?
In maybe 3 minutes. I just need to make a point of full disclosure. I am only Mary. Like several of you have those letters behind your name, and I absolutely applaud those efforts. I don't have those letters behind my name. What I've learned has come from the experiences that I've had working with people who are, as you say, committed to continuous improvement. So I'm just Mary. I'm not Dr. And this has been very, very interesting, and it's the beginning of our information gathering process. We're here basically to do 3 things. Interview is a very strong formal term. Think of it as a time for us to listen and learn. We're going to ask you, those of you who are going to talk with us for the next 30, 45 minutes or so, we're going to ask you some follow-up questions, and they are only that. They are just questions to help you clarify for us things that we thought we heard, and things that we think we know because we've read about it either at the website or in the live binder information that you've posted. So we're going to listen and learn, so kind of, it's not, we don't have any gotcha questions. That's not what interviews are about. Interviews are a time for us to listen and learn. We will be observing children engaged in learning tomorrow, and it is an exciting day for us. and we have already begun to look at the many, many artifacts that you have provided. If there's any kind of a system on there that's counting hits, I don't know. That we're going to hit every one of those links that are posted, but we do appreciate all of your hard work in putting that together, because you didn't just put it together for you. LiveBinder is an active, dynamic piece, and it can become your archives. I don't work for LiveBinder, but I discovered LiveBinder 4 or 5 years ago, and I've never been able to get anybody else to want to play. So this is my first my first opportunity to actually use LiveBinders, really using it. So thank you very, very much for posting all that information. So once we have our information from Listen and Learns, observing, and looking at the artifacts, we will create a set of findings, part of which we will share with you in a very brief exit report on Wednesday afternoon. And then our full written report, we submit through the same assist data entry system that you all used when you submitted your school reports and when you submitted all the district system reports. So that usually takes 4 or 5 weeks for that report to come through, but it will be available to you then online. So again, thank you very, very much for the privilege of being here. And how many of you will be here on Wednesday afternoon for the exit? All right, I'll save my next comment. All right, thanks.